Hi guys, it's Emily from Novell Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my August wrap up part 2. Now, as always, I'm filming it on the last day of the month. So, I'm having to be a little bit cheeky, but I've got a very busy day today because we're going to Windsor. And yes, I can see me buying a couple more books, which will be going on next month. But we're going to be going out the day, this is going out on the Friday, we're going out on the Wednesday. So yeah, it's going to be a busy day in Windsor. I don't want to be stressed when I get home. I know tomorrow is going to be a busy day because it's the last day of the school holidays. My kids go back today, the day that you're seeing this, and I'll be working. So it's going to be a lot of busy time. And then hopefully tomorrow I'll be going out with Gemma and Alice. And the weather's not as nice today. It's all right, but I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to be cheeky and easy and just film in my bedroom. All your other videos should be downstairs, because I'm guessing they're predicting a rainstorm. So we've got some, just to let you know in advance, September's videos are looking quite interesting. Let's see if I can think about showing you some ahead. I've obviously got my vlog of one of the books that I'm talking about today, so I won't talk about it too much. I've got a couple of tags. I'm getting ready for Victober. Oh my god, by the way, guys, at Victober, I've already planned some amazing videos I'm going to be filming. So, hopefully all September's videos should be okay. Victober, I'm vlogging it for starters. For the first time ever, I'm going to do weekly vlogs for it. Yes, I'm excited. I've got some other exciting things planned. But I don't want this video to be too long because I have read quite a few books. But unfortunately, the second half is nowhere near being as good as the first half. Yet again, I've stuffed up. I used all the good books at the start because I was feeling a bit crap. And the second half has not been anywhere near as good. But let's get on with the stats. So if you don't want to listen to the stats, I don't know how to do the time stamping bit, but I would guess jump ahead like 2 minutes and I should get the stats over and done with. So here we go. I read a total of 35 books this month, which I'm really surprised about because I really struggled getting reading done this month because of the kids being off. And then I read 34 of those were off my unread TBR, and that is because I finished my final Anne of Green Gables book, which you would have heard about in the wrap up part 1. But so my series, like my read alongs, apart from the Tudor Queens one, are done now. They're done. They're dusted. It's done. I'm thinking I may be hosting a few less of those next year. Certainly no more big series ones, because I noticed we all sort of tailed off towards the end, and a lot of people didn't really carry on. As you will notice, by the way, I probably haven't done very many readathons this year, and that is because of my mental health. I've not really been in the right position to do that, and I overloaded myself the other year. I may try and do a few more next year, but I'm really just trying to mood read a bit more and be a bit more aware of what I want to do. So I may do some more readathons, but I'm sorry guys for not participating. I've just not been in the right place. Right, so I only bought 28 books this month, so going ahead, the next video is my book haul. For me, no, it's got bought 28. I only actually bought 25, but I was given 3. So that's like the first month of me being good. I only unhauled, but on the other side, I only unhauled 3 off my unread TBR. So you guys would have well have guessed my numbers are going the right direction. August unread TBR was 399, so I hit the under 400 this month. September's unread TBR is 390. Easy maths. I've gone down by my -9 books, which is just brilliant. Like I said in the last video though, I'm not pushing myself to knock it down by loads. I know that September I've got already two plans, like obviously today Windsor, going out with the others on Friday, on Saturday, and I'll pop into Bag's Books tomorrow because the kids want to go and see my Bag's Book colleagues. So yeah, first couple of days of the month is just going to be a disaster. But do you know what? As long as it's either even or below 400, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not like beating myself up now. I've got to my goal. So if it continues to go down, great. If it doesn't, let's not get stressed. But now to the genre bit. I read one dystopic book, which is a book that surprised me. One classic. That number will be changing. I don't think that's changing next month actually, because I don't think I've got any classics for next month. But that number will be changing a lot in October, obviously. 1 thriller. 3 fantasy, and they've really surprised me this month. 3 non-fiction. 10 historical fiction and 16 contemporaries. As you well know from, like I said, my wrap-up part 1, we've had a bit of a family interesting month. So I'm not surprised I've mainly gone for the contemporaries. But going forward, I've got a few great books planned for September. I'm still looking at my September shelf and I'm well excited. If you saw my September TBR, it's full of books that I am overwhelmingly excited by. So let's get on with talking about them. I'm not going to ask you to guess my top book of this half of the month because there's only 3 of them already, 3 5-stars in the second half. That's already giving you a jump. But let's get on with talking about the books. Obviously there's loads, so I won't talk too much. So the first book I read was Inside Broadmoor. That is because of my obsession with the Krays and things like that. Obviously in another video I've spoken about the fact that I'm fascinated by that sort of era. So I read Inside Broadmoor and it was really good. It talked about, I think for me, I didn't rate it because it's not my place to rate it. We live near Broadmoor. It's set, the original site was set like really in Crowthorne. I think it's still like in the same place, but the Broadmoor alarms was something I grew up with. Like on a Monday morning, it would always be the Broadmoor alarm. So Broadmoor has always really fascinated me. But there are some very hard-hitting bits in this. They're talking about some of the things that these people went through and some of the things that happened to them as well. Because if you think about it, treatment for mental health in the old days was appalling. It was absolutely awful. But the people that have gone in there because they're very, very high risk. So there are some triggering things in this, but it's a fascinating book. And I think it's a really interesting to find out about what life was like in there and what it's been like in there over the years. There are some high-profile cases in here, so you do hear a little bit about Peter Sutcliffe, John Stratton, Kenneth Erskine, Charles Bronson, Ronnie Cray, obviously, and Cannibal Peter Bryan. For me, the Ronnie Cray bit was interesting. But yeah, you do hear about some of the high-profile ones. But you can never justify what any of these guys did. But it's shocking how poorly they were, and how mental health can really, like, it's not an excuse for these. But it's fascinating to find out about it. Anyway, that's non-fiction. A book that's disappointed me, even though it's 3 stars, it's 3 stars because, again, the writing's great, the storyline's great, but it just seems to be where most of Anne and Jacob's books that I've read have been set in the same sort of place, Grey Ladies, and it's been set in Swindon, and where the Grey Ladies were connected to the suffragette era, which you guys know is very fascinating for me. But a lot of her books are connected, which is great because you know I love books that connect with characters and you see characters from other books. But the storylines are exactly the same. Like, there is a woman in trouble and there's always a man to come and rescue her. And I'm like, oh, God, I get bored. Yes, the women in this are strong because they're Grey Ladies and they're affected, like they're to do with suffragettes. But it's always like the men have to save them. I get pissed off with that, to be honest. I'm not going to pick up any more of these authors' books because, yes, the writing's good, but it's the same story in every single flipping book. So that is going bye-byes. Now, I actually read 2 Cecilia Ahern books this month. One was 3 stars. The other was 4.5. And that, what shocked me is, when you find out the 4.5 star, you're going to be shocked. But the 3-star one was The Marble Collector by Cecilia Ahern. And that was interesting. I bought it not long ago. It's got a bit of dual timelines because it's about Sabrina Bogues, who stumbles across a mysterious collection of her father's forgotten belongings. She finds out he's a marble collector. And his storyline ties into her storyline when she's trying to find out more about him. So her father's not really memory because he's had like something happen. And the daughter's got one day to piece together the past. And it is fascinating. It just didn't kind of grasp me enough. I don't know why. There was just no real connection with the characters. But it was all right. But it scared me about the author. So the fact that the other book I loved means it might just be that she's a bit of a hit and miss one. So yeah, that one's going bye-byes. Then a book so those 2 that are 3 stars. The next ones are 3.5. I read a total of 4 3 stars this month. I did have a DNF, which was the TBR jar. 3.5 stars, and these are the next 3. And they're 3.5 stars means they were okay. They had a little bit of a twinkle in something that was a little bit better than 3 stars, but not qualified enough for 4 stars. I think for this one, it's because Holly Bourne is a YA author. I read her because a previous BookTube friend loved her, and I'm really going away from my YA shelf is definitely going down because I'm really finding that I'm not interested as much in that. So I think I might do a bit of a YA unhaul if anyone's interested. I think I'm just getting a bit too old for a lot of YA, unless it's YA fantasy. YA fantasy I love. Normal YA contemporaries, not so much. Don't know why. Maybe it's because I like the fantasy element, but this was alright. This was very atypical YA. Bad boys turn good, kisses in the rain, climbing through bedroom windows. It only happens in movies. And when Audrey meets Harry, it's the start of a truly cinematic romance, or is it? Very atypical. Interesting enough. It does tackle some hard-hitting YA issues though, so be warned with that when you're going in. But yeah, a bit too YA for me. Let's go and buy those. Then a book that was really cosy. It was a real cosy contemporary, and I will pick up more of this author's work because they are very cosy contemporaries, but they're just very typical cosy contemporaries. There's nothing that stands out. And this is about Ellie, who can she bake her happy ever after. Obviously, had a previous bad experience, but she moves to the castle. I love the fact that it's got the baking element in it and how food and stuff. Been enjoying my food a little bit too much this month, but hey ho, we all deserve a comfort. And then we've got Lord Henry, who's the owner of the castle, and he's an old guy. And then you've got the handsome bloke, Joe. And you can predict who the romance is going to be with. You can kind of predict a lot of it, but it's quite cosy. But I do love the way Ellie actually makes friends with other people in the castle, and the other sub-characters are really interesting. So that was quite good. And I was very happy with the ending. And then my last book of the month, which I was originally saving for a buddy read with Gemma from Read a Book Gem, but I didn't save it because I wanted a book to finish the month with, and I thought, oh, in 5 years might be quite good contemporary. It's been on my shelf for ages. Relatively new out, literally finished it last night. But it's one of the many that's had the cancer trope. I'm not going to tell you who, because that'll be a spoiler, but there is the cancer trope, and it doesn't end well, like you expect. So sorry, that's a bit of a spoiler. But this is a cancer trope book. I'm not going to tell you how it ends because obviously that's spoilers. But it's very atypical. But then you've got a twist. The bit that gave you the 3.5 stars was the twist. Because in the start of the book, the lead character has it all. She's got a great job that she loves. A man that's about to propose. And then the night everything happens, she goes to sleep. And then she wakes up. And she feels like she wakes up and she's 5 years in the future. There's a different bloke she's with. She's living in a different place. That's all she knows about her life. And she has like 1 hour sort of there. And then she goes back to the present. And then we sort of jump forward 4.5 years and something. And her life has sort of stayed pretty much the same. And then things kind of progress. So she can see connections with the future, with what's going to happen. And she's interested, and it's like really sort of contrasting and quite interesting. That bit was quite interesting. But yeah, the cancer trope's killing me off. You guys know my dad died of cancer, and we've had a few I've had a few relatives that have, and for me the cancer trope is very, very triggering. But yeah, I'm not going to keep that. No way, Jose. So that was 3.5 stars. So now I'm on to my 4 stars. Now 4 stars are brilliant, but they're not going to get kept, but they are brilliant. So I've read 10 4 stars in total. 5 4.5 stars. Like I said, in the whole month I've read 12 or 5 stars, but only 3 this half of the month. So yeah, second half just wasn't the best. But 4 stars is still great. I'm just not keeping very many of them. So first one of my 4 stars, which was In Case You Missed It by Lindsay Kelk. Now, Katie from Books and Things has raved about this author. I think she's read them because of the company she originally worked for, HarperCollins Publishers. And this is very atypical contemporary again. The girl comes home from 3 years away. She's ready to pick up her life where she left it, but her friends have moved on. Her parents have rekindled their romance, and her bedroom is now a garden shed. This is so light and so funny. It was a book that did make me laugh, and if you want one to make you laugh, this author's got that down to a T. But kind of, I do like the fact that Roz kind of does grow in this book a little bit. That's what's brought it to a 4 stars, is that she kind of grows. And yeah, she meets the guy that ended it all, like all those 3 years ago, and she thinks, oh yeah, rekindle the romance. But the way things go, and there's a sexy guy. I reckon he's sexy. You know, in my head I picture sexy, and he seems really great. But yeah, this is quite a fun. And there, like I said, there are this was what I needed, and the fact it did make me laugh a lot. but I'm not going to keep it. My thriller for the month was the C.L. Taylor The Lie. This was very fun. I read Sleep by C.L. Taylor and I liked it, and I think I've now realised C.L. Taylor's books are not too scary that I can't read them, but they're scary enough that they keep me on my feet, and they are very, very fast paced. And I'm not going to tell you too much about this book because I know your name's not really Jane Hughes, and it's fascinating and exciting, and it does keep you on your toes. It's 4, but maybe sometimes it could almost be a 4.5 because it's that fun and fascinating. So definitely been picking up more of the C.L. Taylor books. I've got to, yeah, she's one of the ones I do like. Now, Jojo Moyes did it again. Nice 4 stars, not 5, because but it's sort of set over a really short amount of time. It's mainly set on the ship that goes from Australia to England, bringing different brides who have got their husband in England, and it's sort of set at the end of the World War II, and their different journeys, and there's sort of 3 lead characters and their different journeys to England, and how it's all connected. And there's some we start off at the future, like now, and then we go back to the past, and we go back to the future at the end of the book, and it does tie everything together really well. So that bit really enjoyed. Did think it's good, but I'm realising this video is going on way too long, and I've still got quite a few books to talk about. The next one was After the Rain. And this had a different trope that I don't like. This had the cheating trope. What the heck have I done to myself this month? There's been the cheating trope and the cancer trope, both of which have killed me. This is Lucy Dillon's first book. I'm definitely going to be picking them up, but they are only charity shop books because it's not quite as good as... For a contemporary to get 5 stars, it's got to be smashing something out of the park. And yeah, this one really didn't. So Tara Hunter is a therapist on a mission to restore Longhampton's community spirit after catastrophic, I can't say that word, flooding. But with her boyfriend AWOL and her family fragmented and only a cat to talk to, Tara's own life is crumbling. The cat bit, I love the cat bit. That bit did make me laugh. Alice doesn't like contemporaries. I know you don't like contemporaries, but this is the cat bit. Oh, the cat character. Love it. Soft character, brilliant. Cat character is amazing. And then there's the storm, and on top of everything, Tara's father, last seen when he walked out on her when he was 10 years old, is suddenly back with a surprising offer that could change everything. But after the rain. But Dr. David Dalloway is Longhampton's new counsellor, with an infuriating knack for reading people's minds. The last thing Tara needs right now, but he's charming, caring, and excellent at his job. That bit was good. So even though I'm not keeping that book, this book was good. It is 4. Maybe they're thinking, maybe it was the cheating trope that kind of got to me, and especially because it's the cheating parent trope. Yeah, cheating trope, don't like it. But if it wasn't for that bit that kind of peed me off because it's a trigger trope, it could be 4.5 because it is quite good fun. Then we've got a book that I'll be talking about in my vlog. I'm vlogging this book, which will be, I've done a reading vlog of it, which I don't do very often, so I don't know how that's going to rate, but Jem told me to do it, so Jem, that's Jem from, not Read Book Jem, the other Jem. I love Gems. Jem has got to be a great name, 2 of my best friends of Gems. Right, this book, vlogged it for that. It'll be coming up soon. 4 stars, interesting. Not going to tell you anymore. That is still going bye-byes. Then I picked up a wartime book, and this is female friendships, which I love. Julia Kelly. Did enjoy it. Through it. 4 stars, but it was a good 4 stars, and this was 3 young women living in the shadow of a devastating war with Germany, a war that could force them to choose between friendships and their countries. 3 lead characters, 3 lead women, all friends, very different. Their storylines interlink, and we got an interlink with the present, which I loved as well. We got former socialite Nora, Hazel, who is impressively optimistic while hiding 2 closely guarded secrets. And then Marie, who's the most to fear because she's a German expat with a family living under Nazi rule. Really interesting, really good. This was quite a good wartime book, so one I definitely recommend. And then the last of the 4 stars, and this is The Missing Sister by Dinah Jeffries. I liked it because obviously it's got the sister element, but that element doesn't come in. It's not as prominent as I was hoping it was going to be. This is my first Dinah Jeffries, and I've got 2 other Dinah Jeffries books on my shelves because Nikki from Red Dot Reads has raved about her. Definitely recommend it. It's more mysterious actually than historical fiction, so it's a bit of both, and I think that's quite fascinating. It's very fast paced. It's set in the 1930s in Burma, so Not an era I've read much about, not a place I've read much about. It's very hard hitting and it is very exciting and it will keep you on your toes. Quite good. Then we got the 4.5 stars, and the first book is one, again, I only finished it yesterday, and it's actually one that really surprised me because I didn't think I'd like it because it's dystopic, and that's Perfect by Cecilia Ahern. Now, I had the first book, which is Flawed, and I read that years ago, can't remember how many years ago, and I've had this for ages, but because it's YA and it's dystopic, not really my sort of genre, I didn't pick it up. But I'm glad I did. I'm not going to keep it because it's a book that I think is more, again, YA relevant. But it's very exciting, very fast paced, and to me, it actually does teach quite a few good lessons in it. I am flawed, I am a survivor, I'm not about to give up. You know, I've got this thing about women not giving up and the strength. And this is a young person, she's only 18 and she's been through some real traumas. I can't tell you too much because they are connected to the first book. But it's about in a world where, in the country where if you're flawed, you get branded, literally, that you get an F branded on a place in your body, which is very traumatic. And this girl went through so much in the first book. It was really traumatic, really hard. And she's run away, and there is a nice romance. But it's about the lessons that it teaches you are about the fact that it's okay to be flawed, and that we learn from our mistakes, and our mistakes make us who we are. And it's about learning from your flaws rather than focusing on them as a bad thing. Like, if you don't grow from your mistakes, then how are you going to grow as a person? And I think that element is fascinating, how we need our people around us to help. Like, another thing that's happened in this sort of these two books, this duology, is that if your parents are flawed, you get taken off, you get taken away. So yeah, very hard hitting, but very good. Then an Ali McNamara book, and this has disability rep in it. I'm not going to again tell you why, but it does. It's really, really good. Kate and Clara's Curious Cornish Craft Shop. Very interesting, very fascinating. Absolutely loved it. Thought it was brilliant. It's one of her best ones. It's 4.5 stars, but one of her best books in my eyes because it does disability rep great. It's got a dual sort of timeline to the past as well, which is really interesting. Bit of magic in it, romance, sit on the Cornish coast. Absolutely bloody loved it. Really recommend this one. Those of you who want disability rep and chronic pain rep, pick this book up. Bloody good. Then a book that surprised me because I picked it up because, yes, Gem's recommendation. I will link, not Read a Book Gem, the other Gem. I will link her channel down below. My brain is fried. This is my first book by Mike Gale. Again, we have the cancer trope very, very early on, and this is triggering. So if you want triggers, if you want to know a bit more, let me know. Kerry Hayes is a single mum living on a tough London estate. She provides for her son by cleaning houses she could never afford. But she was taken into care as a child, and Kerry can't forget her past. Noah Martineau is basically her adopted brother, and he got adopted and he got given this great, amazing life. So when Kerry contacts them, their worlds sort of tie, and yeah, very interesting how genes and adoption and things like that go. So yeah, very fascinating. Really love that, but it is very emotional. And then my first Victoria Hislop book that no, not the first, but I think I read one, but it was short stories. This is set in Greece, and this is set over a long period of time. Those We Have Loved, picked this up from the charity from Vaz Books years ago, and it's set in Athens in 1941, after decades of political uncertainty. And then there is one lead character, Themis, and she comes from a family divided by the political differences. And it's set over quite a long period of time, multi-generational, and it's very fascinating, and it's very hard-hitting though, so be aware that there are some very big triggers going into this. I won't tell you what they are because obviously it's spoilers, but it is a very big book, but it's very, very well written, very good, and it's actually making me want to pick up more of this author's books. So yes, I'm not keeping that, but it is very good. And then we've got the 3 5 stars that I know I'm keeping. They're all brilliant. 2 of them are series books, one of them isn't. So yeah, so the 2 series books I'll talk about first. All About the Hype by Paige Toon. It's the last of the Paige Toon's books that I have not read. So now I've read all of her books before the one that her latest one is published. She is doing a live show before this goes live. It's the 3rd in the series. Thoroughly loved it. Thought it was amazing. About Jessie Jefferson, and you guys know I love the 2nd one, which again is in part of my part 1. 3rd one, just as exciting. Thoroughly loved it. My youngest sister Vicky is going to be reading it. She will love it. Then the next book in the Percy Jackson Battle of the Labyrinth. 5 stars again, fantasy all the way. Everything I could possibly love in a book. Fascinating. This series is one of the best fantasy series I've ever read. Not sure if I'm going to keep it yet. I'm still trying to decide, because will I reread it when I've got loads of other books to read? So, but yeah, I'm actually loving this series. I'm keeping the series until I've read all of them, and then I'll decide what I'm doing. Because like I said, my YA shelf might get disbanded and moved around. I don't know yet. And then the last book is The A to Z of Everything, which was given to me by the lovely Alice from Alice's Giant Bookshelf. It has broken me. It literally broke me into pieces. Again, we've got the cancer trope, so be warned. But that is said right at the very start, so you don't need to worry. That's not a spoiler. But then you've got 2 sisters who were torn apart by an event a very long time ago. And when this mother dies from cancer, she leaves an A to Z of everything as the basis to try and get her daughters back together. And that bit is fascinating. There are bits you do laugh. There are bits there is a lot you cry. And I think I cried a lot in this book. But the sister element, and yeah, no spoilers. This is one of my favourite books of the month. And this is one of the only contemporaries I will ever keep because it's that good. Debbie Johnson writes the series that I'm loving about, the Comfort Food Cafe series. I now want all her books. I think she's fascinating. She does cosy comfort, but she does lessons within it. And I think that's one that I love about her work. So, yeah, no spoilers. This is one of the favourites of the month. Loved it. My other favourite of the month from the first half was Forging Silver in Stars by Bridget Kemner. Smashed it. Although literally my page tune books, I'm trying not to put a page tune book as a favourite because she's my favourite author. But yeah, I did love those page tune series. But because it's a series, my rule is series books do not get to be my favourites. So this video is ridiculously long. I've got a lot to do and I'm going off to Windsor very soon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye. Oh, and by the way, just because I'm my brain's guide, let me know in the comments down below. What is your favourite book of the month? I would love to know. I love hearing recommendations from you guys. They are dangerous, but they're really, really good. So, take care. Bye-bye.